Darnell Hartwell is the deputy coroner for Berkeley County. Now he's running for coroner. Today, I talk one-on-one with his vision if he's elected for this edition of Quintin's Close-Ups. And if you haven't already, subscribe to my YouTube channel and like Quintin's Close-Ups on Facebook. Darnell Hartwell, welcome to Quintin's Close-Ups.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for having me.
Oh, you're very welcome. Needless to say, you are the Berkeley County Deputy Coroner, and I know that you have been serving the citizens of Berkeley County your entire career. From 2003 to 2005, you served as the Bono Volunteer Fire Department, and from 2003 to 2018, you served with the Berkeley County Rescue Squad. And of course, you began your career in the coroner's office in 2005 and served through 2010 as a volunteer deputy coroner under the leadership of the late coroner Glenn Rhodes. Tell me this, who is Darnell Hartwell these days?
Well, Darnell Hartwell these days, I'm a family man. I'm born and raised right here in the northern part of Berkeley County. I'm married, Melissa Hartwell, and we have 2 boys and 1 girl. So again, I'm very blessed to be able to have my family and to be able to be here today.
Speaking of today, what is the state of public service in your mind?
I'm sorry, can you repeat the question?
Yes, sir. Speaking of today, what is the state of public service in your mind?
Well, today, again, I believe me serving the citizens of Berkeley County, I do believe that it's a calling. It's definitely not a job for me. I believe this is my passion. I believe this is what God has called me to do. And serving people is something that I did all my life, something that I look forward to do. And I think we need more public servants today to serve our people today.
As a matter of fact, in 2011, you were sworn in as a paid deputy coroner under the leadership of retired coroner William Bill Salisbury, as we all know. And from 2018 to the present, you are obviously the chief deputy coroner under the leadership of Coroner George Oliver. Now you want to become the Berkeley County coroner. Tell me why. Yeah, tell me why Darnell Hartwell. Why now for coroner?
Yes, sir. Well, as you read in my resume, I started out in this career as a volunteer. I volunteered for 6 years, free of charge, and I put in just as much hours and investigated just as much deaths as the paid deputy coroners. Again, I was very humbled and learned what I could. And when the time became available, I was able to switch over to a deputy coroner. And again, as my resume stated, work my way up to the position that I have now. I do believe with my experience, the things I have seen, the relationships that I have built, the networking that took us so long to get where we are today, I do believe that is very important with investigating the deaths that we have here in Berkeley County. I feel that I'm the best and most qualified candidate to serve the constituents and the stakeholders of Berkeley County.
Why did it take so long for that networking to develop in Berkeley County within the coroner's office?
Yes, sir. Working in the coroner's office, again, it's a very pleasure to be able to serve the families, to speak for the decedents that we are held responsible for. And over the years, you have several law enforcement agencies, first responders, a lot of stakeholders that takes time to build relationships, to build the trust, to learn what each department, each personnel, things that we are all responsible for. So again, these are things that just didn't pop up overnight. It has been done for nearly 20 years that I've been in the office. It took us all that time to build that relationship, and that's something that I want to continue to build on and to continue to push through with the stakeholders and the other first responders, law enforcement agencies that we have here in Berkeley County.
And where is that trust right now, Mr. Hartwell?
Well, I believe the trust is in a good, positive way right now. And a lot of the feedback that I'm hearing on the campaign trail is that the relationship that we have, the relationship that I have with the officers, with the departments, we do believe that it's a strong relationship that we have now. And I feel that we all are looking forward for the coroner's office to be underneath my leadership, for we can continue to grow that. And at the end of the day, to provide answers to these families and to help each other in our investigations.
Obviously, I don't need to tell you this, and I was just riding through Berkeley County the other day on my way to Columbia, but it's growing. It's growing a whole lot there. And also, we want to thank all the volunteers who helped with the fire department and the coroner's
Yes,
office
sir.
in that county. But how does your office actually manage growth with smart growth?
Well, we are actually working with our county supervisor, our county councilmen. The coroner's office are direly in need of additional deputy coroners.
Mm.
As of now, we have 3 deputy coroners, not including myself, to handle all the calls that we have here in Berkeley County. As of today, we are at approximately 750 calls. And again, that's 3 deputy coroners that has to work this whole county from one end to the other.
Mm.
So again, our county supervisor, our county council, department, they have been gracious with us, but something that I'm definitely going to be fighting for when I become coroner is to increase the operating budget for the Berkeley County Coroner's Office, and also to add additional personnel as well.
And I just got through talking with Johnny Cribb a couple of months ago for Quintin's close-ups. But let me ask you this: what is the operational budget right now for the coroner's office?
I'm sorry, bad communications. Can you repeat the question again?
Well, no worries, technology. But what is the current operational budget for the coroner's office?
The operating budget, I don't have those numbers in front of me at this particular time, but we are definitely in need of an increase. Our autopsy budget has increased. We have actually went back before council twice in this budget, requesting additional funds for autopsies. We are seeing an increase all across the board in deaths in Berkeley County, but specifically we are seeing an increase in suicide, drug-related deaths. And again, our relationship with law enforcement is so strong and we work so well together is because in a lot of those cases, we have to do autopsies on it for the law enforcement agency is able to get a case built, to get a strong case to present to the solicitor's office as well.
Let me just jump right into it, and I'll get back to that in just a second. But let me ask you, how many deaths were actually by suicide in 2021?
Again, I'm sorry, I don't have those numbers with me. Those are numbers I definitely can get. But as far as this year here, the numbers has definitely increased in our office, and I actually have that right near me as well. If I can grab it.
Sure, go for it. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And you might know this a little bit, but what suicide facts have you been able to learn over the past 2 years?
As far as the suicide, what we're seeing is we have seen an increase in some suicides due to COVID. One of the things that we learned when we were on COVID and we had the lockdown, a lot of people could not do things. They had to stay pretty much confined to their homes. And with that, we saw where a lot of people have fell back into their old habits, things of that nature. So again, the COVID aspect of it did not help as well. As of this year, we have had 15 suicides in Berkeley County in this year as alone. Excuse me.
Wow, I'm so sad to hear that.
Yes, sir.
I don't know. You might not know this either, Deputy Coroner, but let me ask you: what were the numbers of the pandemic coroner case responses last year?
What was it again? I'm sorry, communication.
Oh yeah, no worries about this technology here. But what were the numbers of the pandemic coroner case responses last year?
As far as the COVID?
Yes, sir. Pandemic coroner cases and their
Yes, sir.
responses. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. I don't have that. That falls in natural deaths for us. Again, most of our COVID deaths were in hospitals. We had a very low number of residents dying at their home. The COVID deaths that we saw again was mostly in the hospital with underlying conditions. They were there on respirators and things like that. But we did see an increase, but it was a very low increase here in Berkeley County as far as home deaths that the coroner's office had to respond to. Believe it or not, we responded more to traffic fatalities while we were supposed to be on lockdown throughout the COVID pandemic.
Wow. What was the traffic like? I mean, here in Charleston County, you barely saw anybody out, but what was the traffic flow like in the Berkeley County at that time?
Well, like I said, we did saw increase in it. Well, again, we have the rural roads here, um, but that just tells you where people were supposed to be locked down. We did see an increase in the traffic fatalities here in
Wow.
Berkeley County in that time frame.
And speaking of that time frame in 2021, what were the total death calls that were sent into the coroner's office?
And again, I don't have that. I have the 2022 statistics,
Mm.
and as of today, we are approximately at about 750 calls for 2022. Last year, we closed the year out last year with almost 2,000 calls last year in Berkeley County. Again, that's from natural deaths, suicides, accidental deaths,
Mm.
homicides, a couple other ones there as well. But again, we definitely seen an increase in last year, and every year we're additionally seeing approximately 40 to 50 calls additionally a year.
And Deputy Coroner, let me ask you this. What state of the art imaging machine is your office currently using to enhance comprehensive forensic investigations?
Well, we contract with the medical university is who we contract with to utilize our autopsy. So any imaging, CT scans, any of those kind of things, we are contracting with the medical university.
And going back, obviously, to our discussion about COVID early in this particular interview, how was your office able to provide COVID-19 postpartum exposure risk awareness, postpartum infection control, and body search guidance to staff and deaf investigators, funeral homes, and first responders?
Yes, sir. We have a list of requirements and things that we received from the CDC on encouraging and informing us on different things that we have to do with our deputies. The coroner's office is considered a first responder. We were out there with the first responders, law enforcement, firefighters, doing what we needed to do to serve the constituents of Berkeley County. We worked with the funeral homes. Again, any information early on that we was able to be able to have from our local DHEC on up to the CDC, we made sure that we were able to provide that information with the local stakeholders here in Berkeley County.
And how much money did your office use for preventative issues?
I don't have that number. Again, we work with our procurement, Berkeley County procurement, and if there were things that we needed as far as PPE and things of that nature, they were able to provide that for us, which they did very well and very adequately as well.
Now, how would you improve the quality of forensic services in Berkeley County?
Yes, sir. We have plans. We have goals that we wanted to have here at the coroner's office. Actually, today I'm working on a federal grant. The Berkeley County Coroner's Office is in the process of applying for federal funds to have the Berkeley County Coroner's Office nationally accredited. Once we become nationally accredited, that opens us up for federal funding. And again, I do have plans for the Coroner's Office to become accredited, to at some point in my career at the Coroner's Office to have our own pathology departments, similar to what the Charleston County Coroner's Office has there. But again, there are some steps that I have to go through first to provide that funding. Again, that's something that I'm not specifically asking our council to help with at this point, because there is federal funding out there. So if we are fortunate and blessed enough to become nationally accredited, I do believe that the federal fund will provide mostly of the resources for that.
Now, overall, Deputy Coroner, how much money does your office need right now?
Well, right now, again, I don't have all those details, but at this point, additional deputies. I can take 3 deputy coroners, right now. Again, I'm working my deputy coroners, one to a shift. We are having numerous calls at the same time. Actually, yesterday I took call yesterday, and I worked from sun up to sundown. Yesterday was not a good day in Berkeley County regarding deaths. But my goal is to have 2 deputies per shift. And again, what a lot of people don't realize is that the Berkeley County Coroner's Office operates 24 hours, 7 days a week, nonstop, every day of the week. My admin are always on calls. My deputy coroners are always on call or ready to be called in as well, especially with the holiday coming up. I have already made contact with all my staff, and just to kind of know what's going on, what their plans for the weekend, because again, the holiday weekend is starting, and over time and over history has shown that this is also one of the deadliest holidays that we have as well. So again, we have to be ready to go, just like our local law enforcement teams. We have to be ready to go at a moment notice.
And you spoke earlier about federal issues and federal funding, obviously. Now, the National Missing and Unidentified Person System is a resource for anyone missing a family member, and is also used by forensic investigations if a deceased person is unidentified. How many times has the current coroner's office used that system, and what training would you offer to the other agencies if you're elected?
Yes, sir. We just a few weeks ago, the Berkeley County Coroner's Office, along with the Charleston County Coroner's Office and the Dorchester County Coroner Office, we all had a training here held at Berkeley County at the admin building regarding child death investigations. And again, we had pretty much all the law enforcement jurisdiction here in Berkeley County, neighboring counties. We had the Department of Social Services, SLED. So we had a big training there. And those are things that we are going to continue to do. And for the people that knows me, they know that that's something I encourage. That's something that I definitely feel that we all need as well.
And currently, right now, Deputy Coroner, how many child death investigations are in your office?
I don't have those statistical numbers, and I know a lot of these numbers is not here. A lot of them is still pending on further investigations. But again, so far this year, we probably had 7 to 10 child deaths here in Berkeley County that the coroner's office is responsible for investigating. Also, by state law, any child under the age of 18th, we are required to have a child death review training, and again, that's anybody that participated or was called out to that specific scene. Dispatchers, the coroners, EMS, fire personnel, law enforcement, SLED, Child Fatality Task Force. We have to have a meeting within a certain period of time to go over those findings as well.
And going back early to COVID, a lot of things were backed up because of COVID, and things are just now recovering. But in your office, Deputy Coroner, how many backward cases were there last year?
How many backlog cases?
Yes, sir.
Again, we just got to the point probably a month ago to where we were able to close out all of our cases from last year. Again, those kind of cases are pending for autopsies. Reports, which again, like I stated, we utilize the medical university for autopsies, and at one point there were backlog as well due to a lot of counties utilizing them as well for toxicology reports, things like that. We use a private lab that, along with SLED, that we were waiting on those reports, but I do believe that all of our cases from 2021 has been closed out.
And as you know, during COVID and really right now, drug abuse is a major issue here in the Low Country. What are the new problems and trends that you're seeing, or that your office is seeing in Berkeley County?
Well, one of the things that we did see for drug-related death, even through COVID, when it was mandated for all of us to be on lockdown, we did have several calls where there was recovering addicts that unfortunately fell back into their old habits because there wasn't nothing to do. They're just staying home. They was bored, and what we saw was a lot of the addicts return using the same amount of drugs they were using when they before they came off. So when they started back using, they felt that they could use the same amount, and unfortunately, it was deadly. We also seen rise in the fentanyl opioid deaths as well.
Wow. How does your office teach the average citizen about these issues?
Yes, sir. We try to provide as much information as we can. We actually partner with the Berkeley County Prevention Kennedy Center. We are very active with that organization, and again, we provide statistical data to a lot of these different organizations for they can request federal fundings to continue to get the funds here to distribute among the community to be able to get things like Narcan,
Right.
to educate children, to educate the youth, things of that nature as well.
And going back to money, obviously, Deputy Coroner, during the 2021 time, and of course, everyone, every government you hear talks about the American Rescue Plan. How much money did your office request?
The Berkeley County Coroner's Office did not get any of that federal funding. Berkeley County government did receive some of it, but as far as I know at this point, the Berkeley County Coroner's Office did not get any of that funding.
You didn't get any of the funding. Did you request that funding?
That's some things that we are talking with our county administrator now regarding that funding. But again, at this point, we're still having those conversations.
Now, how do you want the coroner's office to partner with the emergency management and public safety and support preparing for and responding to complex coordinated, say, on God forbid, terrorist attacks?
Yes, sir. Again, I was in this business a long time. Our first responders, our EPD director, again, we know each other, and those are things that I want to continue to. I want to be able to continue to work with them, and also to build things like that. We just spoke with our EPD director within the past few months, and they were able to provide me a trailer to where I'm starting to build a mass fatality program for if we have such events like that, we are properly trained and ready. My staff, majority of my staff is AMB DMI certified. That's a national certification to where you're pretty much trained on a national level on how to investigate deaths and things of that nature. And again, all my deputy coroners are required to have that within a certain time frame of employment with the Berkeley County Coroner's Office.
Now, without giving out too many, details, Deputy Coroner, have you developed a plan, conducted training and exercises, and actually purchased equipment necessary to support this type of incident?
Yes, sir. Again, my county council and the county supervisor, they are very, they support us in the things that we have. I do believe that we have a great relationship with our county council, our county supervisor. So again, some of the funding will probably come from Berkeley County. Again, there's other grants out there. Federal grants, there are state grants. The Berkeley County Coroner's Office is very much involved with the South Carolina Coroners Association. And again, that's a resource that we can have as well when it comes down to funding.
And speaking of funding, what type of grant would be ideal for, say, violent death reporting?
Yes, sir. We have a system now. A lot of coroners have this system where we are reporting violent deaths to the state, and by us being able to provide those statistical data to the state, there is some federal and state grants funding available for that as well. As we know, all those things take time to be able to go through our cases, to pull those specific cases, and things like that. So there is some funding opportunities out there that we are already involved in as well.
Now, I know this takes a lot of time, with your deputies and your office, but going back to 2021, what were the out-of-county autopsy fees? Rephrase
the question for me again.
Yes, sir. In 2021, that is, what were the out-of-county autopsy fees?
As far as I know, again, we utilize the medical university, and every county has the same price, so it's not in county or out of county. As far as I'm aware and made aware of, it's one flat price that we have to pay the medical university for an autopsies. And again, that price just went up a little bit more. Again, I don't have that in front of me, but again, due to the rising costs, the medical university had to went up on their prices as well.
And what were those rising costs for your office?
I'm not sure. I don't have that. I want to say it only went up $100 or two of what that cost was.
And going back, obviously, again to money, what was the actual approved budget for your office last year?
I don't have that in front of me. Again, I'm the chief deputy. I do get involved with the finances some,
Yes,
but I'm not in my office now.
Yes.
You got to keep political away from the office.
Right.
But those numbers are definitely things that I can get. It's just a click of a mouse. I can definitely get that price.
And
I can tell you this though, it's below 500,000. For some reason I want to say about 250,000, maybe 300,000, but definitely not over 500,000.
Now, was there any money available in the budget last year for special projects?
Yes, sir. We did have funding available for special projects. Special projects, some of the things that the Berkeley County Coroner's Office was able to do within the past 4 years, we were brought into our own standalone building. We were able to leave the Berkeley County Courthouse. So now families have a little bit more privacy, things like that, when they do have to come in and talk with us. We were able to get a transport service where our deputies would not, again, in a lot of our cases, the potential of being hurt is there. So we were able to contract that out with a private transport company to where they do our removals. Also, another reason why that was needed was because we are, again, working multiple calls at the same time. So we used to do our own transport for many, many, many years. I did that for a lot. But now, again, while we're on one call, and it's just happened to me on yesterday, out on one call and you got to leave to go to multiple calls. You have to call in additional deputy coroners. But again, I can say that our council is working with us on trying to find better solutions on how we can, move forward with the coroner's office and handle the demand that we're seeing as well. As you said earlier, Berkeley County is growing. Berkeley County is huge. And sometimes I feel that they don't realize people move here, they're going to die here. So that means we're going to see an uptick in things as well.
And, I tweeted out a lot of news yesterday about unfortunate deaths in Berkeley County. But
Yes,
let me ask you this. Homicides, suicides, accidents, unknown causes. Which was the biggest for Berkeley County last year?
Again, I don't have those statistical data. All of them is tragic. All of them is hard to deal with. But again, over the board, we saw an increase in all last year. As so far this year, we had 8 homicides this year already.
Wow.
Yes,
Wow.
sir.
So sad.
Traffic fatalities, about 16 so far this year as well. So again, we're seeing the increase, and we're not even halfway through the year yet.
Yeah. What is the pace of growth in Berkeley County?
I'm sorry.
What is the pace of growth in Berkeley County?
I want to say I heard somebody in the campaign trail. I want to say that it's about an increase of about 35%, if I'm not mistaken.
Wow.
I think we almost had a population of, I want to say about 300,000.
Wow. And Deputy Coroner, let me ask you, if you were to be elected, how inclusive do you want your coroner's office to be?
As far as with
demographics, more, in a diverse, yes, sir.
I definitely feel that's important. Again, I hope my constituents, know me. Something I heard a few weeks ago at my parents' church out in Alvin, South Carolina. Yeah. It's hard for me to sell myself. I'm not that kind of man, and I'm not going to be that kind of man. So what I tell people, and I learned this at that service, let my work speak for myself. I was involved in the community my whole adult life. The people that's that's supporting me and voting for me, is because they know me and they know the work that I do. I started out in my career as a public servant, working in communities, talking with communities, had great relationship with the stakeholders in the communities in Berkeley County. One of the things that I tell out on my campaign, since I was involved with the Berkeley County Coroner's Office, I have actively been involved in over 5,000 death investigations. I have over 3,000 forensic training hours of all kinds, dealing with grief, dealing with mass fatalities. I have a whole wide of experience, and everything that I have was done here in Berkeley County. All my career, everything was here. My training has been paid for by the Berkeley County taxpayers. And again, I do believe that this is a great return on investment to have somebody of my magnitude and training and experience to be able to seek office here in my hometown. But again, back to what you were saying, is I definitely feel that it's very important to be diverse, to educate the community on the things that we are seeing, on the things that we are doing. My staff and I are currently working on grief support systems for where families can come into a private setting among other people and be able to grieve together, to be able to relay different situations together, and to be able to lean and depend on each other as well. I'm a man of faith, was involved in the church all my life, and I have great support from the faith community. So again, I'm here. I'm exposed. I've been around. Only thing that would change for me on January the 1st is a name title, because I'm in the trenches every day, sir.
Yeah, exactly right. And I know obviously the coroner's office has to determine how and why a person has died. How do you find their voice?
Yes, sir. Again, that's on your experience, the training that you have. And again, like I explained just now, I have over 3,000 hours of forensic training. I've been exposed to a lot of cases. And again, the evidence don't lie. We are trained. I'm trained to seek those things when we go on death investigations. And again, through networking, I have a great networking system here in Berkeley County and across the state. I have a great working relationship with my neighboring counties. Coroner Bobby Joe O'Neill and Coroner Paul Brothers, they remember me when I first started this. So they actually watched me came up in this field. So again, being able to learn from them, Coroner O'Neill is one of the best, especially when it comes down to child death fatalities. She done written several books, things like that. So again, I learned from them. Our state agents, again, this is dealing with child fatality. That's all they do. 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. So again, I humbles myself and learn from them. Even though I have the training that I have, I don't know everything. So again, I put myself in situations to where I'm able to be educated and try to educate my staff and also to educate the constituents here of Berkeley County. And for that, I'm so grateful for that. So again, to answer your question, is training, experience, to where when I can walk on the scene, I can see things where other people don't see. And again, I feel that's my opportunity to speak for the decedents.
Berkeley County Deputy Coroner Darnell Hartwell, thank you for your time. And again, welcome to Quintin's Close-Ups.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
You're very welcome.